Other interesting business news, you have LinkedIn announcing they're going to lay off 3% of their staff, which equates to about 668 employees during the second time of the year. Now, I should say, this is the second round of layoffs. So it looks like earlier in the year, they laid off about 700 employees. And crazy enough, they kind of remind me of Twitter in terms of being more bloated than perhaps a government entity and having a lot of layers of bureaucracy that's not needed and just being overall inefficient and inept. Or perhaps I'm just a little annoyed that LinkedIn won't take my money when I try to actually do a sponsored ad for a happy hour or a cigars and cybersecurity. Literally turning money down. Perhaps not the greatest idea, Microsoft, aka their parent company. Now, crazy enough, you think of LinkedIn, how much effort it takes to create it, to code it, to maintain it. How many employees do you think you could successfully run that company with? Maybe 2,000, maybe 4,000, 5,000, maybe. They have 20,000 employees at LinkedIn. That is so much fat. There's just so much more you could trim. 20,000 employees for a website? That's ridiculous, to say the least. And of course, it's also Microsoft, or parent of Microsoft, so they basically are government in terms of how they operate. But I can't help but see the parallels between Twitter. When Elon purchased Twitter, or now called X, whatever the hell you want to call it, there's about 7,000 employees. Now, he trimmed most of the fat. They got down to 2,000 employees. And the reaction is about the same or arguably better when the customer is interfacing with the product. Which begs the question, what are all these people doing who allegedly have jobs and allegedly work at LinkedIn? Now, it'd be nice if they were actually to lay off the inept people who are in the censorship department. And they actually censored me a couple times. One of which, all I did was put my company logo for the top technology company I own. I put our logo on a couple PMags, which breaks my heart if you're not already an enthusiast. But if you're not familiar, a PMag is the standard magazine for the AR-15. Holds 30 rounds of standard capacity from the factory when it was invented by Eugene Stoner back in the day, ironically enough, in California. But we thought it'd be a fun giveaway for events because we do a lot of shooting events. One of our signature events being cybersecurity event by the name in which we called Shoot Suppress Security Fears, in which we talk about cybersecurity capabilities, our partners, and we shoot some suppressed pistols and rifles, and everyone has a blast. Pun intended. Now, we thought it'd be cool to put our logo on a couple of magazines. So we did a couple of variations with different designs and different, one was black and white, one was a color logo. And I put it on LinkedIn and I said, hey, let me know, what do you think would be the best design? Vote by saying, I think I had the thumbs up sign, the happy sign, all the little LinkedIn options you have, because after they edited the like button to now do multiple things, very similar to Facebook, as it's basically become Facebook for professionals. And I got about 5,000 views before, bam, it struck down. And hilariously enough, about half the comments were people bombastically saying they're going to unfriend me because I had the audacity to put our logo on a magazine. I'm sorry, I thought you were American. Well, subsequently, many of those people were all... Actually, I did analysis. I did lose a couple hundred friends and actually looked at the comments. 75% of the people who said they were unfriended me, they were headquartered in California or based in California. But it's one of those instances where I looked at the feedback from LinkedIn and they claim it was spam. Which is ridiculous because I wasn't soliciting a sale. I wasn't saying buy this for a nickel or buy this for $1. I wasn't advertising a product for sale. I was asking for feedback on what the audience thought was the best design for a giveaway that we would give to prospective and current clients. So they use very similar to most tech companies, most social media companies. They gave a BS reason for why they really banned me. Because they just hate America, freedom. And I'm actually not being too bombastic considering most Americans, if you own a rifle, the odds are it is an AR-15 since over 50% of AR-15s sold over 50% of rifles sold in the United States are of the AR-15 style design. Partially because the patent expired, so anyone with an FFL and the proper licensing can manufacture one for commercial sale. Or if you just live in a freedom state and you make it for yourself, you can keep it. Although, remember, I'm not a lawyer. Though, I do suit up like every man should. Now, specifically, unfortunately, LinkedIn, of all the people they could fire, get rid of all the inept people that work there, of all the fat they could trim, they're getting rid of people that are not in censorship positions, unfortunately. Now, specifically, it looks like that they're going to get rid of specifically employees in the engineering, talent, and finance teams. Which, I was going to say, I can't help but think a lot of those talent positions you could probably eliminate just by giving them a free LinkedIn premium. Especially if they're recruiters, that's an easy position to outsource in terms of, especially LinkedIn, you look at the power users, and very similar to any business, you have the 80-20 principle, where 80% of results come from 20% of your consumers, 20% of your products sold. And with LinkedIn, the majority of traffic generated on the platform, the people who are actually using it every single day, are the two power users. You have sales representatives and you have recruiters. Those people are on LinkedIn religiously every single day, including myself. And I can't help but think a couple of those recruiters, a lot of them are paying for LinkedIn Premium, Navigator, Banana Falcon, Zebra. Microsoft likes to change nomenclature of all their advertising products, seemingly just to confuse everyone. But they have these premium packages. I think they range from $700 to $1,500. Well, just give a recruiter who's someone who's going to pay for it, say, all right, give it free, but you're also going to recruit for us now. Can't help but think that'd be probably a good idea. In terms of engineering, it'd be interesting to see how that affects the platform. Don't get me wrong. In terms of gainful employment, I mostly don't want people to lose their jobs. It's one of the things where I hope these folks find gainful employment in another competitor or another tech company. But it is interesting they're decreasing the engineering resources. Granted, I don't know how much are necessarily needed for the web development and all the features they're pushing out. Now, interestingly enough, and more hilariously enough in terms of proving my point of why don't you like business and making money, Microsoft cited a slowdown in hiring with a decline in advertising spending as for the main reasons why they are decreasing their headcount recently. And remember, Microsoft, very similar to pretty much every social media company, because they are a social media company, and when I say Microsoft, that's the parent company of LinkedIn. With LinkedIn, most people use it for free. I mean, most of the folks on there aren't paying for it. Very similar to Twitter, very similar to Facebook. Again, most people who are paying for it are people who are either sales reps, either recruiters, and they're paying for those extra features so you can see more people, you can send more messages to folks. But it's mostly supported by advertising, because people sponsor ads as well. Unless you want to advertise a happy hour or a cigar and learn. Which still boggles my mind, since to be on LinkedIn, you're an adult looking for a job or you want to network professionally. Why would you ban something that every adult can partake in is beyond me. Now, in terms of the company increasing their community size, they're actually up to 950 million users. Now, it'll be interesting to see if LinkedIn could keep increasing the adoption rate of having more and more people sign up for a profile. Because it's one of those things, I don't think the market is saturated yet in terms of the people who have jobs who are not already on LinkedIn. I think there's still about a lot of ramp up you can do in that regard. And realistically, there's not much competition. So it'll be interesting to see what methodologies they use. But I don't think I think there's plenty of room for them to continue to grow, is what I'm trying to say, in terms of a user count. And it'll be interesting to see what kind of methodologies they use to try to get there. Now, in terms of the industry, it looks like the tech industry has laid off 141,560 employees in the first half of the year, compared to about 6,000 a year ago, according to employment firm Challengers Gray and from Challenger. So it'll be interesting to see. And it's kind of fascinating. You have some people like United Auto Workers who want record contracts. What was it, 40+% increases was the first ask for their wages, as opposed to most industries that are laying people off. Interesting contrast. Let me know in the comments, do you think will LinkedIn continue to grow in terms of the user count and eventually their overall size? Or do you think they're kind of bloated, they can probably trim about half the employees there and no one would tell the difference in terms of the end user experience when you're working with the Microsoft LinkedIn product? It'll be interesting to see, but as I always say, time shall tell. Thank you everyone again for taking the time to tune in. We're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of October, so if you could click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, all the comments are greatly appreciated as well. We try to make the show better and better together. Don't forget to take the time to like the video, because it might help with the algorithm. It seems to change on a daily basis of how the magical wizards at YouTube recommend videos or not. But what helps the channel even more out is if you just take the time, and I do appreciate it, take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.